Shalom, shalom. All praise to Yahweh. Kahala Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. So we'll go ahead and get into this one, man. And I'm gonna present some visual. So let's start. Genesis 6. And it came to pass, when man began to increase upon the face of the ground, and the daughters were born to them, the sons of the rulers saw that the daughters of man were good, and they took for themselves wives from whoever they chose. Verse number 4. The Nephilim were on the earth. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of the rulers would consort with the daughters of man, who were better to them. They were mighty. From old were men of devastation. So these are giants. So let's look at where these giants got hid. We'll go to the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch. I want y'all to see this. Okay. Book of Enoch. Book of Enoch. Chapter 10. When their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations under the hills of the earth, until the day of the consummation of their judgment, until the eternal judgment is accomplished. But it says bind them under the hills. Right? Okay. Okay. So let's get some visual. And just to show you that for some odd reason, everybody else knows about this.
The Creator formed us on the second day, the day He made the heavens. We watched over Adam and Eve, saw their frailty and their love, and then we saw their fall, and we pitied them. We were not stone then, but light. It was not our place to interfere, yet we chose to try and help mankind, and when we disobeyed the Creator, He punished us. We were encrusted by your world. 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 Rock and mud shackled our fiery glow. Still we taught mankind all we knew of creation. Those who lived were left prisoners in these stony shells, marooned upon this barren land. We begged the Creator to take us home, but He was...
Notice how he's talking about the fallen are like rocks. They're like rocks now. And what the book of Enoch just say? So go right back into it. I just lost that page, but I'll be right back in a second. I'm sorry, right here, I'm sorry. Book of Enoch, chapter 10, verse number 12. But when the sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations under the hills. So, bind them under the hills, he says, right? book of Enoch says to hide them under the hills. So let's take a quick look. Since these guys says giants wasn't real, who built the pyramids really? That would be giants. And this was not a hard one to figure out either. All you gotta do is look. They keep on trying to say every time you see these big people and these little people, those are kids. No, they're not. No, it's not. This is the one that's gonna kill y'all right here. See the little man over there on the side? You see the giant carrying that same block? Yeah. Like I said, Egypt, giants. Let's keep going, y'all. And then look. Workers, taskmaster, and who do you see down there? We ain't gonna get on that today, y'all. Let's keep going.
My academic friends, and think of what your statements do to discredit God. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, see, they call it a fragment of a corkscrew with its root. They have one of these and they have one of these. They just don't understand it. They thought these were burrowing creatures and things. But that is exactly what the stalk of a hair is. Okay, and that's a good shot showing the oil glands surrounding a hair, which is what we saw where they had one of those and the corkscrew with it. And this is the structure of the sweat glands. You have these little corkscrew things, and they are in amongst the hairs of mammals. This guy right here these are sweat glands, and there's hairs near these too, and I'll show you that in a minute because every hair has a sweat gland. Now, these are sweat glands. That's the size of a guy. So, and sweat glands all mammals have sweat glands. Even dogs, people say, oh, they don't sweat, dogs. Well, it doesn't mean they don't have sweat glands. They do have sweat glands. Mammals have sweat glands. That is my interpretation. Now, I'm going to show you some hairs that don't have sweat glands. Hold. That's what I'm going to show you right now. All right, the evidence I have rests primarily on the fact that tendons are literally minerals in your body that are flexible when they're wet, and when they dry out, they turn hard as glass. And they're made out of collagen type 1, which is a calcium-rich bone. Literally, it's the same thing your bones are made out of. However, when they're in the structure of connective tissues and tendons and fascia, they have a different anatomy to them, and they're like pine cone overlapping, and they have this lacy looking structure. And if you look, you're going to see that this is all the different types of, well, not all of them, but it may be all of them, but these are different types of tendons, and these are certain thing, and I will show you this type. And these are the board style, and they are laminated with this little red slurpy in between, which is the synovial sheath that covers them so they can slide and they can move independently as like a bundle of cords. These are the flappy ones, like this style here, and they wave and have some bit of elasticity to them. And then there's other types of tenderness, and then it just shows how, and then you have this lacy style. Now, let's concentrate on this lacy one here, because this is what I want to show you. And I'm just going to break right into this and say what I believe is true, and it is going to shock you to your core. Now, if you look and you see this lacy material, these are that calcium-rich mineral white stuff, And then these layers here, you see them? These are the blood-rich investments that supply the nutrition to do whatever needs to be done in that particular organic tissue. Now I'm going to show you a picture of some mountains that are made of the same stuff. And I am saying that the earth is made of giant creatures. All right, now there's exactly the same structure. It's very hard to miss that. It's exactly the same identical structure. These are the same materials.
Hold on. Now what does John say?
He punished us. We were encrusted by your world. We were encrusted by your world. We were encrusted by your world.
And that's the blood supply, and these are those little spiky little mineral-rich parts. Now, I don't have sources on all of these pictures and so forth. If anybody's using anybody's pictures, please contact me and I'll give you credit for them. These things were sent to me by a lot of people, and I don't even know where they came from, but I do know that these are geological features. They're found all over the world. It's not just here. You go out in the Grand Canyon out in the Midwest, into the west of the United States, it's just littered with things like this. Utah is unbelievable. I can go in Utah and find veins and arteries everywhere. The earth is literally built of creatures. I'm going to show you something for a little bit of shock value. Hold on a second. Like I said before, tendons are calcium. Calcium is limestone. This is a tendon. That was some creature's foot that went into the ground. They died in the Great Flood, standing up and were petrified. Tendons only. This is what's called an abrupt transition. You see that flat spot like a pancake? Above that started into the muscle tissue, which deteriorates away. But this is where that abrupt transition, and it is flat as a pancake, and it breaks off there as the tissue converts from mineral, and this would have been the muscle. And I have these in mud fossils. Now, you see these water flows in a regular pattern everywhere? That is the product of arterial blood supply coming up through, I think they call them Haversian canals, up through the bone and the tendinous material to feed it with blood. And the arterial supplies are open, the veins clamp off, so those are not a source of water. But the arterial ones are open because they're blood. And when they died, the blood literally washes out, leaves the tubes open, so you have built-in plumbing. Now, here's where we're getting to the point of all pyramid-style structures. They started off with this. They built down. They didn't build up. These are made in blocks. I'm going to show you. These are actually literally blocks of stone. And the blocks of stone they took off, they didn't even have to hardly cut them. They come off in blocks that are almost perfect rectangles. And that's the way, and I will show you that the tendinous material that does that as well. And the stone at Baalbek is tendons. And those tendons were just picked up off the ground. They didn't work those. They didn't cut them out of anywhere. They were just falling on the ground from structures like this. And this would have been broken off and worked its way down and made into pyramids. And this would have been a big one. All right, this is what happens inside of a bone. The tendon sticks in, that ball goes right in there that I just showed you a minute ago. And this square block here is not just showing it's square.
Formed us. The Creator formed us on the second day, the day He made the heavens. We watched over Adam and Eve, saw their frailty and their love. And then we saw their fall, and we pitied them. We were not stone then, but light. It was not our place to interfere. Yet we chose to try and help mankind. And when we disobeyed the Creator, He punished us. We were encrusted by your world. We were encrusted by your world. Rock and mud shackled our fiery. Those who lived were left prisoners in these stony shells, marooned upon this barren land.
Now notice, like I said, he's made them all look like stones. One last time. Book of Enoch. Chapter 10. That's 56. Okay. When their sons, this is Book of Enoch, chapter 10, verse number 12. When their sons have slain one another and they have seen destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations under the hills of the earth, until the day of consummation of their judgment, until the eternal judgment is accomplished. With that, I want to say all praise to Yahweh, Kahala Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Shalom.